many thanks for joining me on TMI Tuesday. We take time to x-ray the policies of government and also to shape thoughts, opinions in respect of how the polity is like and what is needed to galvanize the polity to a better position. Well, it's awesome to know that we practice democratic governance, but it's still needful to also talk about the issues that is really facing us here, looking at the aspect where we have to tackle the challenge of electoral malpractices. Our first discussion will be on the new minimum wage saga ending conflicts. And the labor unions have embarked on one strike September 27th, which was later called off September 30th. And they're also looking at November 6th, which is precisely next week Tuesday, to embark on the strike. But today we understand that they also having a protest march. And what that is all about, well, you hear it from the horse's mouth. I have with me Money Mike Modesty, just at my immediate left. He is a labor devotee. Many thanks for coming.
Phillips, good morning. Viewers, good morning to all of you.
And next also I have the IPMAN coordinator, Leo Ebagwa. Thank you for coming. Well, let me get straight to the question. Looking at what we have here, Money Mike, the issue about the new minimum wage. But let's start with the protest march your union is embarking on today. What's the message?
Well, the protest march is an aftermath of the failure of government, especially the federal government, so to speak, to actualize a new minimum wage for the workers of Nigeria, both in the private and the public sector. You will recall that the Minister of Labor and Productivity, some months back, told Nigerians and the entire world that by September, a new minimum wage would have been arrived at, and all the legal processes that will put it into force would have commenced. But little did we know that they were going to shift the goalposts at the middle of the game. They clanishly, so to speak, decided to do it their own way by backing out of negotiation and postponing negotiations in a day. We have taken the bull by the horn as people who are united, committed.
When you say backing out of negotiations, I don't get it.
The federal government, there have been
reports that there has been this.
The federal government unilaterally adjourned negotiations. Unilaterally. Until it took organized labor protest to get them back to the table.
Is it not possible that there were also issues that they needed to address?
There were no issues other than running away from what is their legitimate responsibility.
But don't forget the fact that it doesn't lie on the federal government alone.
No.
The state government also
has collective bargaining centers around negotiation. The last minimum wage was done in 2011. By the legal provisions, every 5 years, there's supposed to be a new minimum wage. The government haven't breached the provisions of the law. Lately decided to set up the committee, headed by a former head of service. And they have been doing well, coming to the table of, let us now agree. The federal government, in connivance with the states, decided to boycott the negotiations. Then who is fooling who?
Okay, so you seem to believe that the government is not sincere in resolving this conflict.
Gross insincerity.
But let's look at the aspect of the possibility of carrying that amount. Is it feasible?
30,000 naira?
Because you're saying 30,000 naira and the federal government offered 24,000 naira.
What do you mean by 24,000
naira? So what's
Phillips, let's take let's do it like this. In 2011, the last minimum wage increase came in. Between 2011 and now, how many years? The law provides for a review every 5 years. The government that has so irresponsibly breached the law, what has happened to the government? What is 30,000 naira? How much is a room in Atigosa here? For instance, Atigosa. How much is a room? Then you talk about a room and parlor. That 30,000 is to cater for your medicals, your children, and you know in Nigeria and in Africa, once you are a worker, your family, your immediate family, the extended family, your friends, your brothers, just name them. They all quota under your finances. Those who are far relations, who are in schools, who are not able to do one thing or the other financially, they all run to you. We are not living in a country or in the continent whereby every man runs his own race. That's not the country we are in. How much is a sachet of Panadol or paracetamol?
All right. I'll come back to you on that. Leo Bagwa, you are the IPMAN coordinator, and looking at what that also entails in terms of the labor unions and all that. Let's look at the impact it may have on the economy. I know you're not an economist, but let's look at the impact, because it's one thing to say, okay, let's increase it to this amount. The government agrees on doing that. But what about inflation that may come up with that?
I completely, understand your views about this. And to my friend, Money Mike, I completely disagree with them on this issue of minimum wage. As a matter of fact, the last time I was on air, I kicked against this because there is always a multiplier effect.
Yes.
The moment the federal government increase their minimum wage, then you should also know that the market women will definitely increase their
the commodity prices
of their prices.
Yes, and the landlord is there to also.
And the landlord himself will actually also do the same thing. But the truth of the matter is that it's quite unfortunate that the labor movement, they always see themselves, me and we, just themselves alone. For quite some time, for about 3 years now, they know that the economy of this nation has been bastardized. And not only that, one would have been expecting that their protests or their agitation is geared towards the reviving the economy of this nation. It will interest you to know that every month in this country, every month, quote me, the cost of diesel is being reviewed by the federal government every month, which the masses did not know. Every month has its own price. As a matter of fact, this month of October, the federal government has increased the cost of diesel twice. About 2 weeks ago, they increased it to 5 naira, and about 3 days ago, I already heard they've increased it to another 22 naira. So we are also waiting for the price of November. So a situation whereby
and it keeps being reviewed upward.
Every month since this inception of this government, the cost of diesel keep climbing every month, and nobody says anything. A situation whereby you also know that all these articulated vehicles use diesel, and wherever you have goods and services within the country or in any area within the state, you need these vehicles to bring them to the market. So you can imagine that, you can understand that it is the federal government themselves that make life difficult for the citizens of this country. And
going by what you're saying, that it makes it mandatory. It makes it mandatory for the labor unions to demand for this. Because if it affects diesel, it definitely could affect transportation.
It affects diesel, it affects transportation.
Yes,
but however,
how will the average worker perform in that respect?
One would have expected that, on their own side, they would have by now protested. You also know that 2014 or 2013 thereabout, when Goodluck Jonathan was the president of this country, after that time, what did they do? They told us they want to occupy Nigeria, and they began to occupy the whole street just because of that man have increased the cost of petrol from what it was to, I think, to 97 naira. And what did we get as at that time? The whole of them, they occupied Nigeria. And as of today, life is unbearable for other masses, and they are now thinking of their own. Now, when you now increase their own,
say they are not thinking of their
own, it's their own. Because
do you mean the labor unions or the workforce?
The labor union. Because by the time
are they agitating for themselves?
They are agitating for themselves. They are agitating for themselves. They are not agitating for even we the businessmen. They are not agitating for us. Okay. By the time their salaries have been increased, okay, you now tell me the cost of petroleum has always been 145 naira per liter. Now we are buying diesel at a higher cost. The funniest thing is this, sir. You pay in for this product about 3 months ago, and when they increase this product, they tell you to come and pay differential. So you see that even when he's not getting that product, the money is with them, the product is in them, and you are paying differential. So whatever they are doing, I am not in support, and I will never be in support, because whatever they are doing is for them and them alone. Okay. And they will also make life more difficult for ordinary Nigerians.
Okay, thank you. Money Mike, let's see your reactions on that.
In response, let me first of all ask Leo, do you have a union?
We have a union. We have an association. We don't have a union.
Hold on. You have an association?
We have an association.
What are the aims and objectives of your association?
You seem to be the presenter here. Well,
no. I just want to make him understand. Okay, because he appropriated and reprobated.
He made his point.
You know what I'm saying?
But just go to the point and articulate your views. Yeah.
He's entitled to his views. Now, why I asked the question I asked is just to let him know that he's saying labor unions should carry the cross. Must it be labor unions that will carry cross for everybody? That's why I ask you, you have an association, and it's known to your association that the cost of diesel is increasing every day, and your association sees now that when you pay now, before it gets to your supply and there's an increase, you pay again.
Okay, but don't forget that
it
may mention all the fact that this could also affect inflation.
Just hold on, I'm driving somewhere.
Okay.
There are fundamental issues here. Fundamental issues are involved. You get what I'm saying? I did mention to you that a worker has not less than 20 persons to cater for, directly or indirectly. And who is the worker? Even his employees, his own employees, whom they are underpaying, who they are using as slaves in their businesses. As capitalists, they want to make maximum profit on the heads of these workers under them.
That's never true.
Hold on.
No, that's never true. You can't be on air.
No. Private sector
you can't be on air and begin to accuse when a worker. That is never true. No.
You react to that? No. You react to that? I seem not to expect.
Do that.
I never expected this agitation. I never expected this agitation.
I will not take that from you, Money Mike. Let's find out what our workers are earning. They are well paid.
Yes, please. I'll come back to you. Money Mike Modeste. Let's look at the aspect
they
of
are
inflation.
Capitalists
He
who
made mention
don't
of that fact.
allow their workers to unionize.
But your direction
Apart
shouldn't be.
That, let's go to the economy.
Yes, it should be on the economy. What does it entail?
Now listen. Like I asked before, a worker has no less than 20% to cater for, directly or indirectly. 18,000 naira minimum wage. I sit here. If you tell me you want to revert to 5,000 as minimum wage, the electricity sector is in order. The rail sector is in order. The health sector is in order. All the economic variables, let them be in order. We would prefer to even go back to 3,000 minimum wage. A train ride from Abuja right now to Kaduna.
If all of these are in order.
Yes! But to what extent have we achieved in any of these areas?
That seems not to be happening just now.
It's not happening. By now, it ought to be happening with all the change they promised us. But we don't see anything happening. Instead, we have taken a step forward and 10,000 steps backwards. Somebody is telling you, you know the health sector in this nation, how it looks like. That's why I asked the question, how much is a sachet of Panadol today? How much is a bag of rice today? A man has, let us say, at least 4 children. A bag of rice, how much is it going for? How much is a tin of oil?
Yes, we understand all of this.
So when you talk about economic implications,
yes,
let me tell you, now minimum wage is not there. Have we not been having astronomical inflation? It's there, and it will continue to be there. Because the economic variables that needed to be altered, to be properly put, government does not have the IQ to ever do anything. Listen now.
I wouldn't allow you to say that here. Please, I won't allow you to say that here.
I am a trade unionist on the call.
Yes, but
professional. Now let me tell you.
But be objective.
Whether you have it to you, what is subjective to me be subjective to you.
Okay.
I own my mouth, and I will use it constructively for the good of our people. We are their leaders. We are the power owners. We chose them to lead us. And if they don't lead us well, allow us to talk to them the way we feel. NBC or no NBC. Let me tell you. Let me tell you.
NBC.
Let me tell you. Forget about NBC.
No. Please.
Listen to me. If you wish to terminate me on air here, as I'm talking, you may wish to terminate me. I'm a Nigerian, full-blooded Nigerian. If it is president that is sitting here and I want to say it, I will say it.
Okay, I'll come back to you.
This country,
I'll come back to you.
As we have it, the Nigerian worker is not interested in wage increases. The Nigerian worker is only interested in fixing the economy. But if you refuse to fix the economy, they will tell you, you need to top up. That is what we are saying. Okay, why did we wait 7 years, 8 years before we started asking for it?
Thank you, Money Mike Modeste.
When the law provides for 5 years.
I'll come back on you. Leopagwa, let's look at this aspect of the no work, no pay engagement. The no work, no pay engagement. Do you see that as feasible?
I think, to me, that is completely wrong. You can't say no work, no pay. Something must have led to the agitation. If you employ a man or you employ any person today and you give them the rules of the game, and if by tomorrow there are issues and your employer come to you and say, this is something is wrong somewhere and you refuse to address that issue and the person stay away, you can't just say no work, no pay, because there's already an issue. So there is no way you begin to shift a goalpost at the middle of the game.
But this policy started from Ambassador's time.
No matter. It doesn't matter when it started. It could have started from the days of my grandfather. But however, when you employ this man, you know, he's already an employer. And, you know, within the line, there's an issue which needed to be addressed. And if that issue is not properly addressed and the person said, okay, I'm going to strike, he has every right to go on strike. Okay. And if you say no work, no pay, then you are not being fair. You also turn it the other way around. Don't just say no pay, no work. It has to be no pay, no work. It's not just no work, no pay. No pay, because what they're actually asking for is that their salaries are not enough. Just to, because these days you can no longer take them home. We all understand that. Okay. But my annoyance with them is that they would have begun to fight the government on the destruction of the economy when they knew that this government was dealing and systematically destroying all the infrastructures, the indices that lead to the growth of the economy of the nation. When they saw this, they would have made sure that the federal government fixed the economy. So the policies that they were putting in place, which was not in the favor of them and even the masses, they would have let them know that these policies that you are bringing on board is not going to help the masses, it's not going to help the economy, it's not going to help any person. So please let it go. If they are agitating for this, we all will join them. But when you now fold your hands and allow the economy to run ground completely, that is even no longer in coma. People, some Nigerians are even trying to waking up now to a coma state. Okay. Now you are now telling us, okay, you are going on strike and you want to grant the economy again. Okay. You can imagine the multiplier effect.
Like the no work, no pay.
No work, no
yeah,
pay.
The policy. What's your reaction about that?
Abracadabra. We are equal to the task. We will challenge any authority anytime, any day. We are Nigerians. The law is made by man for man and not the other way around. They are telling us no work, no pay. That today we don't deceive farmer with cutlass. It don't tell us so. We are not just starting this struggle for now.
Okay, but what is the compliance level? Is the compliance level not going to be a challenge?
Let me tell you, Phillips,
workers, you definitely
Phillips, I am not a shoe shiner. Organized labor in Nigeria is not. We are not shoe shiners. That we have been told the economy was going to collapse. We are not talking. Have we not always been talking? Must we be the people talking? Other associations and trade groups, can they talk? Okay, look at it. As we have it, let me tell you, the issue of no work, no pay. Like I said, permit me to speak pidgin again. Not be today we don't see farmer with cutlass. Don't pay. The question is, you have a law that says no work, no pay. You also have a law that says every 5 years, review minimum wage. You are not obeying the law that says review minimum wage every 5 years. It is the law that says no work, no pay that you want to invoke. For any law to be justifiable, there must be equity, there must be fairness, there must be justice. A one-sided law is null and void to the extent to which it is one-sided. No work, no pay. The other side should be no pay, no work. As I speak, Osho has paid 3 years half salary. As I speak, federal government, how often are they able to pay, even remit their pensions?
I think that's where we're going.
Listen, now let us go. The capacity they do have.
Is it not in question?
The least government in this federation has. There are some states that are taking 1.something billion as security vote. 1.something billion in this federation. $1 billion as security votes. There are some states that will take, the government will take $1 billion as security vote, not accountable to anybody. It varies from state to state.
Are you by that saying that that should be shared?
Listen, let me tell you, we know all these things. When you say minimum, 30,000 minimum, labor was even magnanimous enough. What is 30,000? If the cost of fuel is 145, what is 30,000 naira? Okay, we were suggesting higher amount before. Now, 2 parties out of the 3, because it's a tripartite negotiation.
Yes, it is.
The government, labor, and Nigeria Employer Consultative Assembly, NECA. And 2 over 3 agreed. For instance, in Edo has been paid 25 since the year 2016. There are a lot of technicalities involved in this arrangement. When you say 30,000, our expectation is the percentage differential between the old and new should be used across board.
Okay.
And don't, it's not even a concluded matter. even when it is agreed, consequential increases will fall in for other states, which they cannot come back to say, okay, gentlemen, let us further negotiate this. Minimum is 30, but consequentially, this is how much we'll be able to pay. That will now open another door for negotiation between the state governments and their state labor centers. That is it. But what we advocate is that everybody will want federal wage to be paid everywhere. So if it is a federal wage, then it has to be paid. And for any private sector that has up to 50 employees, it is bound by law to implement. And we are even advocating 20, minimum of 20. So if we have that, fairness will come.
Okay.
But for no work, no pay, leave us.
Thank you.
What the fire uses to hatch its egg,
Thank you. Well,
is right inside his body.
Thank you. Thank you. The new minimum wage saga, well, we'll discuss further on that after this timeout.
TMI, every opinion counts.
For joining me again on TMI, we're still on the new minimum wage saga. And while the break was on, I had the opportunity to be joined by the Norgay president, Edo State, Young Ilenihena. Many thanks for coming, Young.
Thank you very much.
Well, on the protest march, which has been planned for today, and the new minimum wage saga, what do you think about this? Don't you see it as really not necessary, being that the federal government and the state government are trying to meet to ensure that this is resolved?
Well, it is not unnecessary. Some may argue it is not necessary. But the government, are they willing to discuss? Labour did not wake up one day to say we're going for a protest. It is as a result of the insensitive nature of the government we have. Labour have for long given notice concerning this, but the government are not willing to discuss. And as a result, Labour decided to go on a protest and sensitization of its members and the public to allow them know why Labour is doing what we intend doing today, or what is ongoing now across the country. As to the minimum wage, some may say, well, Labour went on strike a few weeks ago, and within few hours or so, they called off the strike. You see, the reason is this. We never embark on that strike because we want that minimum wage now. Then we were not even talking of a minimum wage. We were talking of saying, come to the table and let's discuss. And the government said, no, no more discussion again indefinitely. That was what caused Labour to go on that strike, to force government back to the table for negotiation. Now the negotiation was made. After the negotiation, 30,000, which we think not even reasonable, not even a living wage, but just a sustaining wage for workers. And it was agreed on, only for the Labour minister to come 2 days later and say, well, nothing like that was discussed. You see, it's mind-boggling. And in a country where people should be bothered about the economy of the country, strike do not help both Labour and the government itself.
What do you feel about the no work, no pay?
Oh, well, that is a normal threat. We know of those who have gone on vacation or recess for how many months, yet they got salary along. We know of those who will do one thing or the other. How many days do the senators or whoever, the politicians, they go to work? So as far as we are concerned, they have the right to their own opinion, but when we get to the bridge, we will know how to cross it.
But are you not also bothered? You said mind-boggling, but isn't it also more mind-boggling the impact it may have on the economy?
Sure, we are.
We have a viable economy to sustain that.
We are part of the economy. But in a situation where a senator will have 29 million in a month, and you are talking of a worker having 18 million, is that reasonable? Is that not mind-boggling? In reality, we all go to the same market. Your own driver, a government house or anywhere, is earning 18,000 as minimum wage. Whereas you have some governors having 500 million as security vote, not accounted for, more or less like a grant. You go to council, they have 1 million for legislators as their own vote, not for salary or anything. That's excluding their salary. Then the workers there will get 18,000, and somebody is saying 30,000 we cannot pay. Let them face the reality. If they cannot pay, leave the government, let those who can pay come in. Why sitting there as a governor, you say we cannot pay? If you cannot find solution to it, leave the place, let somebody else come and find a solution to it.
Okay, but what do you suggest as raising more revenue in order to accommodate this?
Well,
for state government?
You see, it's not a question of getting in revenue. It's the misappropriation of the revenue that is the issue. Nigeria have money. They have money. We know how to generate money. But the problem is that it's the mismanagement and the politician looting that is the problem we have in Nigeria. We have the resources to generate, and I want to say that every Nigerian in Nigeria today, in our country, we will be able to pay free education for children right from primary to university level. We have the resources. But our politicians, they are not real to the people they are governing.
Okay, thank you. Let's, as we round off, I will want your parting shots on this, Money Mike Modesty.
Well, I think my comrade brother has alluded to all that I said before he came in, as if he was right in the studio with us. I think you know that the spirit is strong. Mm-hmm. We've got the will, and we have the capacity and propensity to confront anybody.
Okay, but
why
the break was on, because we have to straighten this out. Why the break was on, you shared some issues with me about Ipman or about diesel and what you see in terms of the quality. How does that affect workers?
Okay, now, salary is 18,000. You have a better pass my neighbor generator. The fuel, high quality fuel you used to have, that will serve that small gen throughout the whole night, can no longer even serve that small gen for 4 or 5 hours now. Mm-hmm. The product quality is extremely low. They have been talking about motor refineries. Where are they?
But who do you blame?
Meanwhile, they are busy pursuing our boys and girls in the cliffs.
If you talk about
putting them back to
if you talk about the quality, okay, back to you, yes, Elio Ebagwa. We talk about the quality of diesel or fuel. Sure. Yes. Who do you blame for that? Well, is it that those within your union are involved in this?
No. I would blame the labor devotee. I would blame them in the sense that
in the reduction in quality.
Listen, sir. Mm-hmm. Under their watch, the refineries in this country was grounded. Under their watch, the federal government takes the crude to Eastern Bloc and refine our product there and bring a substandard product to us to come and sell here under their watch. Sometimes when they're not asking for more money, I wonder, where are they working? Are you working? You are not actually working. But it is when you are working, you receive.
But we also hear reports that sometimes marketers involved in this.
This has nothing to do with the marketers. When the product is the only person that imported product to the country now is the federal government. Go and check the density of the product they are importing to the country. Look at the density of the product, either petrol or diesel, whatever they are importing to the country. Look at the density and compare it to what we are refining here in Nigeria. So under their watch, the board of directors, under your watch as the president, you allow the federal government to take the crude of this country out, take it to Eastern Bloc, refine it there and bring it to us, substandard product. And today you are telling me that the product you put in your...
Well, we don't have that statistics that what they bring back is a substandard product.
If it's not a substandard product, if it's not a substandard product,
yes.
Why is it that the normal quantity that you use to run your generator or use to run your car...
I think that will not be convenient for this discussion. No. Your final shots on this.
Philip, you will give us some seconds to reply him.
It's like Keto blaming the pot.
You guys
we are just hearing that for the first time.
Oh, really?
Yes, because now you all have been enjoying that with the government over years.
No, because that's never true, sir.
They are the ones milking.
As far as we are concerned, you are just raising the flag now because things is no longer going your way.
No. We've always raised the flag. We've already complained.
In 10 seconds, yes. You see, this blame shifting here and there will not help us. The major problem we have in this country in terms of the petroleum sector are the operators in that sector.
Yes.
Let me use the terms. Aiding and abetting all the atrocities in that sector.
Okay, we'll look at that next time.
The impoverishment of our nation today
we'll look at that
is
next time.
From the petroleum sector.
Okay, let's look at the 30,000 naira. Are you saying that if it's less than 30,000 naira,
that is a conclusion. It's not negotiable. It's not even negotiable. It's not concluded.
It's a no-go.
We are not waiting for the legislative procedure to be passed.
Okay.
If not, what this nation will lose in a day, I know Leo will agree with me.
And that's what we really want to.
We want to avoid it.
That's what we
want to avoid it. That is why we say, you know what? We want to avoid it.
Okay.
Even when we have given notice Today is just to tell the whole world. And I want to believe that some federal government, by today, they should finalize that issue. Allowing a nationwide strike for only one day is tantamount to taking over $300 billion
okay, thank you.
out of our economy a day.
Thank you. That's the much we can take on this segment. We hope that the emergency meeting will also be coming out with a very beautiful conclusion where this whole issue about the new minimum wage saga will be resolved. Thank you, Money Mike Modesty.
God bless you.
Labor devotee. And,
viewers, God bless all of you.
Leo Ebagwa, Ipman coordinator.
If you have not stuck to your house, go and start stocking.
Thank you very
who is
much.
the Nolge president at Edo State.